much job security do 6 Super Bowl titles get you? That's the question du jour in New England, where the Patriots' miserable season has heaped an unprecedented level of scrutiny on legendary head coach Bill Belichick. At one point, the idea of Belichick leaving New England on anyone's terms but his own was unthinkable. Suddenly, however, with the Patriots almost a half-decade removed from the Tom Brady era and the organization still clearly a ways away from being a contender again, it's no longer that crazy to think that owner Robert Kraft might prefer to hand the reins of his flailing franchise to someone new, someone with a fresh perspective. But could the Patriots actually move on from the most decorated coach in football history? The one who helped make the Patriots the Patriots? It's a real dilemma, and we're going to dive into this mess right now. Sit back, relax, and take this in. Let's get one thing straight off the top. Head coaches certainly have an impact on wins and losses, and more so in football than any other major pro sport, but the talent on the field matters the most. Having said that, Belichick isn't just the head coach in New England, he's the de facto general manager and essentially a god, has been for more than 2 decades. So it's not unfair to say that his stewardship, his singular control over personnel, principles, and practices has led the Patriots to their current predicament. And by their current predicament, I mean they're bad.
You're trash, Brock.
Nearly a third of the way into the 2023 campaign, the Patriots sit in last place in the AFC East at 1-4, with the worst point differential in their conference and the worst offense in the NFL. They've been outscored 72-3 over their last 2 games. Belichick has benched starting QB Mac Jones twice over that span, and the Patriots' embarrassing 34-0 loss to the New Orleans Saints in Week 5 marked the first time in Belichick's coaching career that his team trailed by 30 points at home. Never before in Belichick's tenure have the Patriots looked so inept on both sides of the ball, and that includes his debut season in 2000 in which a 23-year-old Brady served as a backup to Drew Bledsoe. Ultimately, barring a dramatic turnaround, New England is headed for its 3rd losing record in the last 4 years and one of the worst seasons, if not the worst season, in franchise history.
What the f*** happened? What happened?
Now obviously, there's plenty of blame to go around. Jones, for instance, has the 3rd worst QB rating among football's 33 qualified quarterbacks. 3rd-year running back Ramondre Stevenson is averaging a career-worst 2.8 yards per carry. Their defense has a league-worst 2 takeaways, and they're tied for 20th in the NFL in sacks. Even their kicking game is among the league's worst, having converted just 50% of their field goal attempts thus far. It's bad. And when a team struggles in every facet of the game, it's usually the brain trust that's held responsible. And Belichick is the Patriots' brain trust. This team reflects his vision. He wanted to use a 1st-round pick on Jones in 2021, then failed to adequately develop him, neglected to surround him with top-end playmakers, and continued to prioritize special teams this past offseason instead of making meaningful upgrades to the offense or defense. And now, with the Patriots rather predictably flailing, mired at 26-29 since Brady left and poised to make it 5 straight years without a postseason win, Belichick's unrivaled pedigree isn't the trump card it once was. As one NFL executive recently told The Athletic, their best move is to bring in a young offensive coach with a new GM and start fresh. They need real change. They gotta get out of this. And you better believe that that sentiment is bubbling up in New England too.
Belichick's stuck in his old ways, and the game is catching up on him, and maybe it's time for him to either retire or do something. This is pathetic.
Yeah, they're not pleased. And this is the part where I point out that for his career, without Tom Brady under center, Belichick has a losing record. But while his legacy as the greatest coach of all time is safe, in spite of that, his future in New England no longer is. Coming into the season, Kraft said it was very important that the team make the playoffs in 2023. And although he offered praise for Belichick, he also emphasized that football is a business and said that you either execute and win or you don't. Well, the Patriots most certainly aren't winning, and they haven't been for a while. And ultimately, unless Belichick retires, which seems unlikely given how close he is to Don Shula's record for all-time coaching wins, Kraft could soon be wrestling with the difficult, awkward calculus of how to move on from the most decorated coach of all time. Because it's hard to imagine Belichick being amenable to any change in how the organization operates. He's had something close to complete autonomy over football operations for more than 20 years. It seems highly unlikely that he'd be willing to give up GM duties at this point and let someone else shape the team he's coaching. And it seems even more unlikely that he'd give up being on the sidelines and embrace a full-time front office job. Ultimately, if Kraft decides he wants a change, firing Belichick may be the only way to go. And if that happens, it will undoubtedly be the most momentous firing in NFL history, trumping Miami's messy breakup with Shula in 1996 and the Dallas Cowboys' dismissal of Tom Landry in 1989. But Belichick, of all people, understands how this game works. His go-to mantra as the Patriots head coach has been "do your job," and recently, he hasn't been doing his at a high enough level. And as impossible as it may have seemed a short while ago, Belichick's historic, unprecedented tenure as head coach of the Patriots could well end in humiliation rather than glory.